Welcome to the PreSnap Podcast, presented by Line Star. I'm Shannon Somerville here with Tyler Weeman, ready to break down your Thursday night football game. We'll have your daily fantasy plays of the day, your sleeper picks. We will also have some prop bets, our touchdown calls, and just our game picks.
Mm-hmm. It is football time.
It's football time, and this is a big AFC North showdown between the Steelers and the Browns.
Womp, womp, womp.
Okay, so maybe it's not Chiefs-Chargers.
Yeah.
Like last week, we had a very exciting game.
Rams-Bills.
That was a good one as well.
We've had some good ones.
You know,
this is not the offensive pack game that we have been accustomed to so far on Thursday night game.
Fair enough. We're still going to dive into it because there is some edge for those of you who are playing daily fantasy and placing some bets. So we'll get into that. First, a little look at the injury report here. We've got some injuries to take note of. We're looking at SixScore.com. It is giving us a look at the Browns defense versus the Steelers offense, and then we'll take a look at Steelers defense versus Browns offense. In terms of their SixScore, be sure to always check SixScore.com to check in on the injury analysis. It'll help you get some edge in terms of the injuries because that's a crucial part of football as well. So the Browns defense coming in with a SixScore of 91.4. They're without Jadeveon Clowney, ruled out week 3 with an ankle injury. Greedy Williams, remember, he's on IR recovering from a hamstring injury. And Myles Garrett, neck, is expected to play. SixScore of 82 for him. Now on the Steelers side, Najee Harris still dealing with that high ankle sprain, but he is playing. He looked good last week. SixScore of 64, though, for him. Taking a look at the Steelers defense, they are without TJ Watt, who will miss at least the next 6 games with a pec injury. Terrell Edmonds will start, but depth is an issue. Backups both on IR. There's something to keep in mind going up against that Browns offense, coming in with a SixScore of 85.9. Joel Bitonio is expected to play on the offensive line. He was out with he was dealing with some bicep injuries. Maybe hitting the weight room a little bit too hard. I don't know. Jack Conklin is back. He missed the first 2 games recovering from that season-ending knee surgery from last year. So, all in all, you do have those big playmakers like Jadeveon Clowney and TJ Watt, not in this one. So, just some stuff to keep in mind. I think the bigger impact, though, in this game is going to be your weather because wind is at 20 miles an hour with gusts up to 35 miles an hour at First Energy Stadium. This could play a huge role.
It could. It is something that could change, so make sure you pay attention. Wind is one of the things that is a little bit harder to forecast. So.
Good point. Let's take a look now at your daily fantasy plays. And we'll start off going through different positions, and we'll start off with the quarterback position, which isn't as thrilling as this game used to be. Big Ben versus Baker, and now it's Brissett versus Trubisky.
Yep.
Who are you going with here?
To be honest, I don't really love either of them. Brissett doesn't have the rushing upside I like if I'm using a quarterback at captain. So he's totally out for captain for me. Trubisky has that ability, but the Steelers haven't let him run. So I am hesitant to make Trubisky a captain also because I don't ever see Trubisky throwing enough touchdowns to be captain.
The thing with Trubisky, that Steelers offense has been such a disappointment. I mean, we knew what we were going to get, which was
it has been for years, though, too.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know what Matt Canada is doing, but they're not throwing the ball down the field. They've got Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and George Pickens. And, I mean, Trubisky averaging 5.1 yards per attempt, second worst in the NFL. His QBR against the Patriots was just 35.4. I've got a ton of stats listed here just because I was watching that game. Also, I had some skin in the game with George Pickens prop there, so I was not too happy that he didn't try to. He was wide open. George Pickens
was wide open a lot. I do have a question for you on that. Do you think we could see Pickett soon?
Yeah, I definitely do. we heard the fans chanting for him. So I think that's something. However, I think they're going to be hesitant to pull the trigger on that because once you go there, it's going to be hard to go back to Trubisky.
You can't really go back. And also, they might as well kind of wait to a bye week to get him a little more involved. It definitely seems like neither of these teams are going to win the division. So
yeah, I mean, Trubisky, though, ranks 29th in yards this season. So the only quarterbacks behind him in this stat are Dak Prescott, didn't even finish a game. Trey Lance, who played one game, got hurt early in the second. Justin Field, whose first game was a monsoon game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not going to cut it.
And then he threw the ball like 7 times last game. Something.
Ranks 32nd in air yards per attempt. I don't know why he just seems awful. Terrified to throw the ball down the field. However, I don't know how much of that is him and how much of that is the game plan of Matt Canada. But
it could be some game plan there. We do know that last year Big Ben rarely threw the ball that deep either.
True. Yeah,
I know got the ball out quick a lot.
I think I was telling you before from some Steelers fans who reported to me on this. I guess they got the inside track here. I guess Matt Canada and Big Ben did have some friction there in terms of play calling. Makes
sense.
Let's move on then to the running back position. This is much more exciting because we got Nick Chubb in the equation, had 3 touchdowns last week. I think he regretted the third one because he should have kneeled. Instead, the Jets came back and won it because of that decision.
It's very true. I appreciate it in my fantasy.
I'm sure a lot of fantasy owners are thankful.
Him and Diggs allowed me beat Eli. Thank you, Chubb.
He still had 87 yards against the Jets. Previous week, 141 yards against Carolina. He is second right now in rushing yards in the NFL and going up against a Pittsburgh defense that actually last season gave up the 7th most fantasy points per game to running backs. On the other side of things, you got Najee Harris. However, Nick Chubb is just awesome.
He is, and Chubb's probably going to get the most captain ownership. Also, likely him or Harris, the most flex. So, but I don't think you can forget good old Kareem Hunt here.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt has a similar snap share as Chubb. He's seen only 1 less red zone try than Chubb, and way less ownership's going his way. I think he's in just as good of a position as Chubb, and that Steeler run D isn't what everybody thinks it is without Watt.
Exactly.
So
I think with Najee Harris, that's like Trubisky's safety net right there. So they could lean on him a lot, especially if the wind is any kind of a factor in this game. They're going to be just dumping it off to him.
Exactly. His pass catching ability, especially in DraftKings, is important to note. I mean, he can pretty much add another touchdown of volume just through catching the ball. So
let's look at our wide receiver position. In this one, we're looking at Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson. Now, Cooper had over 100 receiving yards against the Jets, including a touchdown. We were kind of waiting for that breakout performance. We knew it was coming from Amari Cooper. The Steelers have allowed the 3rd most passing yards through the first 2 weeks. Watch out for him, certainly. And Deontay Johnson, we talked about, I don't know much of a passing game. They've got to start throwing the ball, though. And Deontay Johnson is, their top weapon.
And he is great. He is an excellent receiver. Too bad Trubisky just can't get it there.
Right.
And like I said, I think it really does come down to the offensive game plan as a whole. Like the fact that they're not using Trubisky as a mobile quarterback, I think is killing the offense as a whole too.
Sure.
It would open up these receivers so much more if the defense had to worry about him running.
Exactly.
The fact that they don't, it's like, he's not going to beat you in the pocket. That's not his game.
Not a lot of creativity on that offense to the detriment of a lot of those receivers. For me, it's kind of a prove it situation until I got burned on a couple props with them. So now I'm like, you know what? you guys got to prove it to me that you can get the ball to the receivers at this point.
We know offense in this game is going to be a little bit hard to come by. Deontay is great. Claypool's good. Mm-hmm. Pickens is actually running. He's out there almost as much as these guys. Yeah. I think he's had 7 less snaps than Johnson and like 17 less snaps than Claypool. Claypool has been out there the most, which is no surprising. Deontay has some injury issues in the past, and he has his shoulder now. So, but I think all of them are interesting. They all can make plays after the catch and get some yak. So, but that's the issue, though. We need something like that to happen for them to be in that spot. Of the receivers, Johnson is obviously probably going to be the highest owned captain spot there. So, the one other thing I would like to note is on the Cleveland side, good old Donovan Peoples-Jones. Right. He has a pretty similar snap count as Cooper, but going way less owned. So he also only has, I think, he has similar target share, and he actually has one more red zone target than Cooper does so far.
Interesting.
Small sample size, only 2 games.
Right.
But still, it's something to note.
All right. Now let's take a look at the tight end position. Pat Freiermuth is far and away our top projected tight end here. And actually, it's Harrison Bryant who comes in more highly projected, higher than David Njoku, and which is a little bit surprising to me. But Freiermuth, we know, is solid. 22 yards and a touchdown last week. And then Bryant, he actually 3 or 4 targets for 45 yards versus the Jets. What are you thinking here in terms of a tight end play for daily fantasy?
Freiermuth is absolutely the more secure, safer option. Bryant and Njoku are both kind of interesting, though. We mentioned that we have Bryant projected very slightly higher than the Njoku. And it really comes down to that Bryant has had more targets than Njoku so far in the season, even though Harrison Bryant has almost half as many targets as Njoku. So Njoku is on the field a similar amount as Freiermuth, but he hasn't got the ball. They haven't been giving him looking his way. So it's something to note. Njoku could, he has the playing time to get that Freiermuth target share, but he just hasn't.
So it might just be a matter of time, though.
It totally could be. He's obviously the tight end 1.
Yeah.
But he has not been targeted like that. He's been almost a non-factor in the passing game.
Let's look at the defenses now. Steelers, more highly projected here. They are without J.J. Watt, which makes this play a little nerve-wracking. However, on the Browns, they're without Jadeveon Clowney, so both have significant losses on the defensive side of the ball. Are you leaning to one or the other in terms of a daily fantasy play? Obviously, Browns coming in a little bit cheaper on DraftKings.
Yeah, the thing with me, though, is this game is in Cleveland. Brissett doesn't take a ton of chances. He's fairly good with protecting the ball, so pick sixes are a little less likely. I would have to lean kind of on the Browns side. Go the cheaper way. Maybe a little less ownership also. The game's at home. No J.J. Watt on the Steelers is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So, with that being said, I think both defenses need to be considered. We have a 38 total in the last 3 years. Games with that total, the under has hit 7 times, 7-0.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So we're likely looking at a very low scoring game here.
Okay. So some good fantasy plays for today. Make sure you check out linestarapp.com for all of that information. It's like a one-stop shop all of your research in one place. It's great. Plus, that's where we actually get a lot of our info for our prop bets. Props Edge is a new tool on Line Star that gives you the best edge in terms of the sports books, underdog fantasy, and also PrizePicks as well. So just a great tool. Check it out, linestarapp.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, be sure to like this video if you're enjoying our content, and make sure to subscribe to our channel and sign up for some notifications so that you know when we come out with some videos. Now let's move along. It's touchdown calls of the game time. Where are you headed for a touchdown call, Tyler?
I'm going chalk. We're going Nick Chubb for the touchdown. I think TDs are going to be hard to come by in this game. Chubb had 3 last week. The Steelers' run D isn't as good without Watt last week. The Patriots were able to run 4.9 a carry, and I would say Nick Chubb is a better running back than Stevenson and Harris.
I was thinking about that one. I'm never going to argue with you when you take a Georgia Bulldog.
Go Dogs.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. All right, I'm going Najee Harris in this one. He had the second highest percentage of rushes inside the 20 last season. I think the win, if it stays the forecast that it is with a lot of wins, I think they could lean on Najee Harris even more than they already do, which is quite a lot. Mitch Trubisky, we haven't seen him pass the ball down the field a whole lot. Most of his passes are those short ones to Najee Harris, who we know is threat in the passing game as well. So I definitely see him in the end zone in this one.
I like it. We're leaning on the running game.
What world are we living in that you take a Georgia Bulldog and I take Alabama player?
I know.
Oh my God.
How are you gonna
live with myself?
Yeah.
I don't know. If I get it right, I won't care. We'll see. Let's get to our prop bets of the game on this Thursday night football matchup. Tyler, where are you going for some value in the prop bets market?
Going to the same person as my touchdown call. Good old Nick Chubb for over 79.5 rushing yards. That's minus 125 on MGM. You can get it at 80.5 or 81 on other sports books at less money, minus money, but I'll pay the $10 and get minus 25 and an extra yard lower. Anyways, Harris and Stevenson combined for 4.9 rushing yards per carry last week versus Pittsburgh. Chubb has averaged 19.5 rushes per game and 5.8 yards per attempt. With the simple math, he should be over fairly easily, and LineStar has him projected at 96 yards.
Yeah, I definitely see them leaning on the run game a whole lot this one, which is actually why I have Jacoby Brissett under 185.5 passing yards, minus 114 in the sports books. Projection from LineStar is around 150. I definitely think they're going to lean on the run game. Steelers defense hasn't been as effective against the run game. They're also without TJ Watt, so this defense looks a whole lot differently than they did in week 1. They did struggle last season. They're actually seventh most. They allowed the 7th most fantasy points to running backs last season. So I'm saying they're leaning on that run game, handing the ball to your boy Nick Chubb, our boy, Georgia Dog. And he's gonna pass a lot less, under that 185 mark.
From is it Chubbtown? Was that where he's from?
Chubbtown?
Yeah, there was an ESPN special on it.
How do I not know this story?
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Okay, you look up this story here.
Yeah.
I'll give the game picks.
Yeah, Chubbtown, Georgia.
I love it. Good old Chubbtown.
Yep.
Okay.
It's Nick Chubb's ancestors that founded the town.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. I love that you know more Georgia Bulldog trivia than I.
Dogs.
That's a great little trivia nugget
It
there.
is a fun little one.
Now let's get to our game picks. So spread in this one is 4.5. The Browns the favorite in this one. And the game total 38.5. So, Tyler, where are you? By the way, you still owe me a shot for that Eagles win.
Yes.
We both got Bills right.
I got the under right in the other game where you picked over.
All right. So that negates.
Oh, no. I think we both have to take shots.
Okay. So for Thursday Night Football, what's your game pick? What are we playing? What are we doing here?
I think the Browns win.
Mm-hmm.
Do they cover? No. And then I'm going under 38.5. Like I said earlier, in-game totals 38.5 or fewer. In the last 3 years, the under is 7-0.
Yes. I'm also going Browns in this one, and I do think that they cover this one.
Whoa, you got the cover. I like it.
I watched the game last week with the Steelers versus the Patriots.
Yeah.
Did not inspire a lot of confidence in that Steelers team. The Browns, although the one thing that I'm most scared of for the Browns is that elf they got painted in the middle of the field. That thing is mischievous, and I think it might have brought them some bad mojo.
I just have a hard time following a team that just lost to the Jets. I'm sorry.
In the final minute.
I'm sorry to put that on you. I know the Jets are your team, but they totally collapsed with under 2 minutes left. Down, like 13 or something?
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
Hear me out, though. That's actually a factor for me into picking them because they are embarrassed. They are ready to go out there.
It's true.
They're mad. They're
like,
at home. Oh, we should have won one. Taking their aggression out on the poor Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
So I'm also going under in this one. I just don't these two offenses. Although I do see the Browns as they have the ability to just give it to Chubb. He'll run it in all day.
I could easily see this game being like 13-10 or something like that.
Yeah, I just don't see the over hitting in this one. And if the weather is any, I don't know, that's a wind gusts of 35 miles an hour. If that forecast holds.
Yeah.
With those quarterbacks.
That's some strong wind. But like we had talked about, Trubisky doesn't throw the ball deep. It's all short. So wind shouldn't be a factor too much there. Brissett just doesn't throw much.
Exactly. All right.
Protects the ball.
So
we got a barn burner coming up for you guys.
It's our Thursday Night Football. Steelers, Browns. Yep. Here we go. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Watch, it's going to end up being like some overtime game and exciting.
Hey.
Would love
as long as I win $1 million, I'm good.
Got to be in it to win it.
Yep.
Good luck in all your fantasy for this week. And if you're playing daily fantasy as well and your prop bets as well, remember all of the links to PrizePicks, Underdog are below. And also, if you want to check out LineStarApp.com, that's below as well. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below if you have any questions about who to pick in your lineup. Any questions at all, drop them in the comments. Good luck to you. We will see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.